I'd love to like meet John Joseph and Harley.
Right.
I'd love to meet both of them and just be like, yo, check this shit out. It's based off of everything you did 30 years ago.
Right.
Just to see what they would think about it. They'd probably be like, yeah, that's cool. But they'd probably try to sue me. Um,
I think we're ready to go. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure podcast. We traveled down to the highway of hell, all the way down to Atlanta, and we're going to be chatting with Curt from Living in Fear. Thank you so much for joining me.
Howdy. Yes.
Howdy. This podcast is getting very cowboy already. Curt, for the folks at home who might not know who you are, can you just give me a proper introduction of, hey, my name's Curt. These are the bands I'm part of, and this is where I'm based.
Yeah, so I'm Curt. I sing for Living in Fear, and I temporarily play drums and Strangle You. And yeah, we're from Atlanta.
Yeah, sounds good.
This is Wayne. He plays bass in Living in Fear.
What's going on?
Yo, that was very unexpected.
Yeah, he's just chilling. We live together, so he just hangs out all the time.
What's good? I'm Wayne.
Wayne, nice to meet you. Well, I'm glad that this is a duo podcast. We can kind of bounce off some of these things. Well, I hope Wayne brought a bev because we got to do the bev check of this podcast. So how about you guys go first?
Yeah, I'm on the watermelon Rita.
Oh, okay. That's
interesting. 8%, pretty fire.
Nice. You got a big old Powerade.
Yeah, he's
Powerade. I'm doing this red 40 right here.
That's
yeah, Powerade right here. Watered down with some ice.
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh, you don't take it on ice, Curt?
No, it comes out of the bottle cold.
That's fair. I've been having a lot of really I'll call it like tier 1 like bevs on the last few podcasts. So I got something that I have never tried yet. So it's called Golden Hour. So it's a I don't know if that's cologne, but it says it's a sparkling water infused with aloe, and it's grapefruit cucumber. So we're gonna give it a go.
Weird.
We're gonna see.
That sounds more like a summer bev, but I guess so does the watermelon Rita.
Right. I think because I live in Calgary and it's just so damn cold right now, it's like anything that reminds me of summer gives me a little bit of hope that to get through this very cold time.
We're sitting at 60 degrees over here, pretty much.
Yeah, my man's got overalls on, so you guys are just sitting and you're outside of all places.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if you guys got to check out any of the episodes prior to this podcast, but normally how I like to kick things off is just get some context around each of you guys, how you got into heavier music. So Curt, how about you go first, and then we'll have Wayne join in and just tell me kind of the origin story of how you got on to break down guitar music.
Yeah, I think the first like heavy band that I listened to was probably AFI.
Okay.
And then after that, I kind of like went the wrong way, and I liked bands like Hawthorne Heights and Silverstein. But I knew I never liked the singy stuff. I knew that like I really liked the like screaming stuff that they were doing. And then I started listening to more of the heavier stuff. I got really into Rotting Out at like a young age. And that was like Rotting Out and Brace War were like the first two like hardcore bands that I got really into. And yeah, it kind of just went from there.
What was the first AFI song that you heard of?
It was off the Red and Black album, and I think it was it was the Girls Not Gray. That was the first one, I think. Yeah. I was like, this is cool, and then I listened to their older stuff, and I was like, this is also really cool. I like this because it's a little bit.
I think it's the older AFI material that's on some of the Tony Hawk games and things like that people were kind of first getting put onto. So, But I remember distinctly watching the Miss Murder like music video multiple times when I was in
The
high school.
church or whatever. Yeah, in the big church.
Yeah.
It's a good music video. I like that.
Yeah. Wayne, what about you? Were some of kind of the first music listenings in the heavier realm of things for you?
Well, it's funny. In 2008, I went to my first show, and that was going to go see All Shall Perish.
Oh, okay.
That's a weird
So
one.
like it was totally way like fucking out that spectrum. And I was like a kid that was into like hip hop and shit. So like when my friends were like who were scene, they were like we all smoked some weed together in high school. So, you know, they're just like, yo, dude, Wayne, you're cool as fuck. Come to this fucking show with us. I went to the show and I was like, yo, man, I was like, and I used to talk really stupid, like really like, oh, cool, damn. I used to talk like that all the time. Still kind of do. But I just started seeing people fucking breakdancing and fighting. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Is it? Like, this is how they dance? And then I'm like, I just stripped out and fell in love with it after that. But yeah, 2008 was where it all began, I'd say, for me.
Yeah, you're kind of just thrown into the deep end as far as heavy music is concerned.
The meanest shit you can think of.
And I mean, from there on, I kind of just like went on to, of course, for sure, like deathcore, grindcore, a lot of just that whole wave of music that came out from early 2000s. Like I kind of hopped on that, and then I started like getting into a scene phase myself with MySpace, like everyone else in the world, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all kind of began for me as well. Just getting into like metalcore and stuff like that back in like 2008.
Yeah, no, and I've talked about it multiple times on the podcast where there's oddly enough a lot of connections from hardcore music to hip hop music. Like it's weird for me because I didn't grow up in this hip hop sphere where I'll watch you know, Sonny from Hate 56 will randomly cover like a rap show or a hip hop show, and there will be like actual mosh pits. And like aside from hardcore metal music, you don't really see that for any other, call it mainstream subgenre. So it's just weird the crossover, especially also with lots of like guest spots. That's not something that country or rock and roll do on the regular, but hip hop and hardcore do that pretty heavily. So
Yeah, true.
Sure.
yeah. So yeah, let's talk about Living in Fear. I'll just kind of give some context as far as how I found out about you guys. So my singer Wolfgang in Endgame was like, I think the story goes as he flew to Florida and then he traveled up with a friend to LDB Fest 2020, and he said that he went to a show in Atlanta, and I think that's where he met you guys, and he was like, okay, Spencer, I know you're into riffs, so you have to check out this band. And immediately I was hooked. So yeah, tell me about the origins of the band, and maybe we'll kind of set the stage for some of the other kind of crossover questions that I have.
Yeah, so I was actually playing drums in a punk band called Pay to Come, and I guess like the vibe was just kind of like we were all getting tired of it, and so the band kind of fell off. And when that happened, I really wanted to do some like Cro-Magsy stuff. Like I was really obsessed with the Cro-Mags, really wanted to do stuff like that. So I just like wrote a demo and like recorded it all in my room and posted it. And then I just kind of like, the more I did it, the more I was like, yeah, this is the band that I want to be doing. So I just, I don't know, I just never gave up at it. And we've changed so many members just because it's like, in the beginning, we were working out, you know, who's going to play what, who's going to do what. But for the last year, we've had like a solid lineup. So we've been a band like 3 years. We've been working on it. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long, ongoing process keeping this band like up to play shows and shit.
Mm-hmm. I think Wolfgang, when he first was telling me about it, he was mentioning that, yeah, it originally started as you writing everything, and then over time it was like, okay, let's bring other guys into the mix. Has the writing process always been you, or has that kind of shifted with adding more like full-time guys that are here to stay?
Yeah, so like as of now, everything has been with the exception of like 2 riffs on the new record, everything was pretty much me just kind of like hunkered down in my room, just kind of like working through it through like a whole month. I just sat there because we were on quarantine. So I was like, I'm going to finish all these songs and get them ready, and got it all done in a super quick amount of time. But all the songs, we've been working on them roughly for like a year, but we finally sat down and finalized them that month. But it's mostly just been me writing it, but I'm kind of wanting to like get away from that. Like I want to be able to like jam together as a band more, instead of just like me sending them songs and being like, hey, learn them and we'll play them live. Like I'd like to be able to get together and actually do some rock shit together.
Yeah. I think like when I first started playing in bands, there was such the thought for me was it was only like you get together and everyone's like, okay, well, what about this? And it's like a big group thing. But I have played in bands where it's like the writing department is, 1 or 2 guys, and I was totally fine just to be like, be in neutral and just kind of just learn and play those songs live. I think that there's a, it's a self-awareness thing of like, okay, am I in this band to like make my own little mark, or is it like I just want to jam and play heavy music? So there's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah, and it's been great there because like nobody's really had any issues with it or anything. Like I haven't had anybody be like, yo, I want to write riffs, and like nobody's ever like really gotten upset or like said we should change this. It's pretty much all just been, we send in the songs and they're all like, yeah, this is great, let's fucking roll with it.
And obviously like some things will just naturally be maybe Wayne can speak on this on the drum department, as far as like, you may like program like, oh, this is how things are gonna be, but recording the drums live, actually like this feel is a little bit different or whatever.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, we
just dying over there for a second.
I be doing that all the time.
Okay.
This is literally day by day, daily basis for him. Like, he even told me, shit, give me that. I'm gonna chill. Your question about the percussions, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you?
Like we
just, like, religiously strictly always let our drummer know, like, he plays it to a T pretty much, and he does with whatever idea and vision we have laid out for the song structure. Like we pretty much follow it as a guide in a map almost.
Yeah, but Sam is more of a cymbals drummer, and I'm more of a tom drummer. Like I like to get real freaky on the toms, but Sam's really into a lot of like washy cymbal work. So shit like that always sounds different live, because he puts his own little like flavors into it and spices it up. But yeah, I mean, everyone else, they rock it literally like Wayne was saying, to a T. It's just straight dead on every time. Yeah. It's like, it's impressive. Like, what? I don't know. I'm always like, how do y'all pull this off? I couldn't pull that off, and I wrote it, and I'm just like, better than I do. Like, it's insane. They do it all so well. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wayne, I think I might have got mixed up thinking that you play drums. So you play guitar. You play bass. Okay, I've gotten it wrong 2 times on this podcast already. No, but that it is really cool just to, like I said again, like, recognizing, okay, do I want to try and mess up something where the equations are dialed in, so the output of songs can just, why mess with something that's so good right now? So, but over time, like if certain members come in and then it's like, Curt's like, I might want to have a little less stress on my shoulders as far as what we're actually writing. Because that becomes taxing when it's like, let's do an LP, and you're like, can I write 10 songs that I'm personally happy with? So
exactly, yeah. Exactly. It's getting like, the more I do it, the more I'm like, that riff sounds exactly like that riff. And I'm like, I'm just blowing through all my riffs. But yeah, it's I want to Andre, our mate, like our lead guitarist that does all our solos, he is just a shredder god. Like, so I really want him to start writing some more riffs, because he's just so gnarly when he plays guitar. It's crazy. It's insane. I really want to start working more people in.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe that's a good kind of transition. So like, well, maybe we'll touch on this first. So I noticed that you guys have put out a lot of music kind of in this last year, and I think a lot of bands right now are kind of in that weird state where maybe they already had something recorded, so it's like, okay, like we should put this out, or we had a release that's 2 years old, we're in due for new music. But a lot of bands are kind of playing that card of like, okay, we're gonna do it early 2021 so we can like kind of play on it more timely. So have you guys just been like, fuck it, let's just put out a ton of music, or has there just been a hard drive with a plethora of songs that you've just been like, get this off my plate?
No, yeah, I just like, I don't know, when I'm bored, I write music. So we really like, when a song is done and ready and it seems like a good idea, like I wouldn't want to drop an LP directly after an LP. So I was like, maybe let's do a single. So we put out a single, and then this record has been pretty much locked and loaded and ready to go since July.
Okay.
We've just been trying to like get it pressed and whatnot. Like it's taken a while. The record plants are like really backed up or something. I don't know, but it's been taking a long time to get the records, and I wanted to make sure that we could get all of that before we put it out. So when I found out we were going to get it in December, I was like, okay, let's decide on a December day.
Yeah.
It's like the only Friday or Saturday in December that isn't a holiday. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna take that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and things and if you're doing a physical release like that, like that shit takes time. Like it's very easy for someone to mock up like the record like splatter and how that looks on Photoshop and post it on Instagram. But talking with homies who just recently did an LP, they were like, yeah, like the vinyl people have said 5 to 6 months of a window to just get them. So then there's the actual setting it up online. So yeah, there's a lot of factors, and I'm sure every industry is kind of feeling backed up as far as things are concerned right now. But yeah, tell me about the upcoming record, what it's called, what people can expect from it compared to older material. Yeah, let's talk about those things.
Yeah, it comes out December 18th. It's called The Coward's Path Ends Here, and it's 11 songs, and it's like 40 minutes of music. And yeah, we brought the dub back. So like on our demos and stuff, we always did the little dub at the end. We brought that back. There's a dub. And there's a lot more breakdowns than the stuff from before. Like it's definitely more breakdowny. The mix is insane. It's so thick. It's like after we finished it, it blew my own mind. I was like, it sounds like some radio like mix type shit. It just sounds ridiculously professional. It blew my mind. But yeah, like we finished it up, and yeah, I'm ready to drop it. It's got some features on it that I think are really cool. We got Carlos from Rotting Out to make us a beat that because I saw he was making hip hop beats, and I was like, yo, you should do one for the end of one of the songs. So that has it on it. We got like Chris from Dead Heat, Nick from Minefield, and Ross from Ingrown.
Yes.
And of course, Haterz Be Damned has like all of like our friend group and whatnot, like all the bands we all share, they all sing that too.
Yeah, no, that actually is really cool, because I was thinking about everyone does like guest vocal features, but it's cool to see that you did like a feature that is just a beat that someone made. Like it's outside of just like, oh, I'm grabbing the mic and doing it live kind of thing.
No, yeah, I thought that was really cool. I was like, it would be sick just to be able to say, like, yo, Carlos made us a beat. Like it's on, like he didn't sing on the record. He didn't shred a solo. No, he fucking made us a beat. Like that's fucking cool. Yeah. So when I saw he was doing that, I was like, I wanted a beat for the end of this song. I'm gonna see if we'll make it. And then he fucking made it. So
yeah, it would actually be like really interesting to have like I don't know how you would orchestrate this, but if you had like a guitar solo feature, if there was like just someone that you just admired so much in either, not even like a huge band, but if you're like, yeah, like I'll just shout out like Cody from Drain. Like if you wanted to do like a guitar feature from him, or like a dueling guitar thing. Like I remember growing up, I remember I think Good Charlotte had that song, and it had like a guitar solo feature of like Sinister Gates, and they had like the
Yeah.
music video, and they're all like doing shit. So yeah, I think more bands should just do stuff and outside the box, because everybody in their mother's band has like a guest vocal feature these days. So the more that happens, the less special it becomes. So it's kind of a game of like trying new things. So I'm very excited to hear that the beat on there.
It sounds like some straight. It's like Street Fighter and like 3-6 Mafia had a baby. It's such a weird but like really cool beat.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
You were mentioning you said you were bringing back the dubs. Can you explain that for me? Because I might not just be catching that just yet.
So like the Bad Brains did the reggae tracks throughout their discographies, and then they would sometimes do the dubs where it was just an instrumental kind of like chill vibe track. So the last track on the record is just like a straight drum and bass with a guitar solo over it. Just
okay,
like,
so it's just a different style. It's not just like this is the heater song. It's like this is like a interlude kind of dub kind of song. Okay, I understand. That's very cool. I think more bands need to. That's kind of the freedom when you're doing an LP, is that you don't have to think about like every song needs to be a live song. You can have those like songs in between that kind of like play on different aspects genre wise that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do if you're trying to pack all the hits in a 4-song EP or something. So
exactly, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to like work on blending more things.
Yeah,
and, like just getting weird with it.
Yeah, that's kind of like the beauty of like the crossover like space, is that there's not a lot of oh well, you said you're a hardcore band but you're having breakdowns, or you're a death metal band but you're tuned. Like crossover is literally like a no man's land kind of space for music. So is that kind of the same for you guys? Like you're like, let's just do as much shit as we can because we're kind of under this umbrella.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's like, because we can, crossover is such a wide term. Like, who's to say that crossover means like two exact genres? Like it could be a crossover of anything. So we could, in theory, we could just bring in whatever we want to do. And that's what we're doing. Like we're working on our next release. And that's kind of what we've been doing. We've been blending where it's a completely seamless record, but there's like little interludes and intermissions and shit between all the songs, so that you know a song is transferring to another one. Yeah, like making shit. I love seamless records. Like when you hear songs go straight into other songs, I love that. So I tried to do that with our record. It's like all seamless. I try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah. Do you guys have any favorite crossover bands, either old or current, that you guys have not necessarily taken influence from, but just have been listening to on the repeat as of late?
Yeah, I mean the Cro-Mags is always in repeat, but I like the later Cro-Mags records a lot. Like I love Best Wishes and Age of Quarrel, but Near Death Experience and Alpha Omega, I love those records, and no one ever gives those records attention or anything. So that I listen to like Nuclear Assault a lot. I love that Handled with Care album, and really like modern crossover bands like Rhythm of Fear is insane. And of course Minefield. Like I listen to a lot of Minefield, but they've kind of got like a it's almost like a crossover-y Foundation type of vibe. So I think that stuff's really cool. And Creeping Death, of course. Yeah, you're right. Creeping Death, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
What about for you, Wayne?
I mean, of course, Power Trip. I'd say, I mean, would Leeway be appropriate? Yeah, for sure. For sure, Leeway, for sure. Definitely on the Cro-Mags kick with Curt. I mean, that's something we always have shared in common.
Yeah, and that just never ends. There's never a wrong time.
Seriously. You could do totally anything to the Cro-Mags in life. It's almost like one of the the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's, like you said, it just kind of it's not just thrash and metal. It's not just hardcore and this. It's like kind of, it's a very broad term, but I think a lot of people can do that. I do remember one of the very first podcasts guest that I had was Mitch from Low End and Cross Me, some pretty staple Milwaukee bands, and he was just talking about how like crossover in the hardcore scene sometimes go over people's head at times, like because it's like this is like metal, but it's like too technical or it's like too simple. So have you guys kind of found that, or because I've seen definitely like there's kind of this upswing in kind of crossover thrash music right now, with bands like Fists of Fury, you guys, I Am is like a big band that I've seen brought a lot more attention in that like, guitar music. But what are your guys' thoughts on that matter?
I think that we've like found a really good mix at working technical riffs with like either intense strumming patterns or like some crazy picking shit going on with this like more simple two steps and breakdowns and stuff like that. Like there's something for everyone. Like we got the two steps, we got the breakdowns, we got the D beats, like the intros. Like we've managed a way to work it all together and just piece it together and find a good mix. So yeah, I've yet to like have anybody call us out on a genre claim. You know what I mean? Like I haven't had that happen yet.
Have you guys heard of I think he's Stu's based in California, but the band's called Spirit World. They put out an LP on Safe Inside Records. You should definitely listen to it after. It's like it's very, very, I feel like with all the bands that we've been talking about, that's very, very up your alley. So shout out to Stu, shout out to Spirit World and Safe Inside Records. So yeah, I'm very excited for the newest release. The single that you were talking about earlier, Haterz Be Damned, which I think was cool. Like I was listening to it today. It was kind of like this anthem, kind of for the band in a way. So do you want to talk about that specific track and how that just like lyrically was written and just like, just the vibe that you wanted to have it represent?
Yeah, it was kind of just, like I feel like every band should have that one song where they like thank all their friends or whatnot, so it's about like the solid team of friends that I have around me that like keep everything together. And I just I wanted to, all of our songs were super angry up until that point, and I was like, I'm gonna try something different. So yeah, I was thinking back and I remember that 25 to Life song, Haterz Be Damned, and I was like, that's such a hard like title, like that's so hard. And I was like, I'm just gonna rip it, and like it's the whole thing, it's like I've 25 to Life is like one of my favorite bands of all time. So like of course I wanted to like pay homage to that by like, kind of making my version of like a slogan that they kind of invented or whatever. So I just really wanted to write a song that was like, yo, all of y'all sing a song with me and let's talk about, the love.
Yeah.
That was just the whole thing. And I got everybody from like, I got all the dudes were like singing on it. So I thought that shit was really cool.
Yeah. Was that intentional with also doing Highway to Hell on the 2-song promo, or is that just like a coincidence?
What do you mean?
Oh, like as soon as I saw that, I was thinking of like AC/DC, so I wasn't sure if there was.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Dude, yeah. No, you're right. No, that wasn't intentional, but damn, I didn't think about that until right now. That's so funny. But no, yeah, AC/DC is like one of the greatest bands of all time. So like I wrote that song and I just managed to work Highway to Hell into it. Yeah. And I was like, fuck it, I'm calling it Highway to Hell. That's badass.
Well, yeah, I feel like that band just on the drums, like just the really basic like like that is in every hardcore song 2000 or 2020, 2021. There's one of those just very basic AC/DC beats. But yeah, I think it's very sick to like see something and just pull from it in a way. I don't think anyone in AC it'd be very sick if anyone in AC/DC were to listen to that and be like, pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, like even if they hated on it, it's like, damn, AC/DC hated on us. AC/DC hasn't heard your band. It's just like, that would be really funny.
Is there any like large scale band or musician, and this is like bands and rock stars that are on the radio 9 times out of the day, that you would love to just be in the same room and be like, hey, here's my music, and get their, opinions or perspectives on?
Yeah, there's probably a handful. I'd love to like meet John Joseph and Harley.
Right.
I'd love to meet both of them and just be like, yo, check this shit out. It's based off of everything you did 30 years ago.
Right.
Just to see what they would think about it. They'd probably be like, yeah, that's cool. But they'd probably try to sue me. But no, it'd be really cool to like completely branch out and like get the opinion of like Liam Gallagher from Oasis and be like, what do you think of this heavy metal shit? Or like fucking anyone that's ever been involved in 3-6 Mafia. Obviously, I would want them to hear that shit. Like face to face with one of them, like, yo, Project, check this shit out. And he would be like, this shit is horrible. And I'd be like, cool.
What about you, Wayne? Do you have any rock stars that you would just freeze up if you were in the same room as them?
Shit, I mean, he kind of killed it with his response. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know how I can really come back from that. Robert Smith.
Hey, check that out.
Shit, I showed Robert Smith. I don't even know what I do.
I'd like to show Morrissey on music.
I mean, hell yeah. You know what, Morrissey? Honestly, I would just love to sit in a room with one of them and just talk about anything outside of just us all being about music. I mean, I would like to ask questions about them, of their past.
Sure. I'm trying to show them what I'm doing.
Shit.
The thing y'all have done. You haven't heard this. Check this out.
Right.
I'm put y'all.
I'm trying to pick their brain more than likely is what I'm really doing.
I'm finna put Robert Smith on. In the email, tell them, yo, check out Living in Fear.
Oh man, the Morrissey comment, I was just losing it for a second there. So we've talked about the song "Haterz Be Damned," but I know there's also the "Haterz Be Damned Collective." So can you explain what that is? There's when I went to the about, there was just a photo of you. Just I'll just show it for anyone here.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I think it was just like that's the vibe of it. But yeah, give me some context about how that came to be in some of the other band leaders on that.
So it was me, or it was Jordan from Strangle You, kind of approached me with this idea, like, yo, I want to make a website. We should call it the HBD Collective. And it's just like all of our friends' bands. It's not a label. It's not, like there's no contract signing or anything. It's just like, yo, we're 4 homies. We can fucking sell our merch here. We can post new releases. We can do shit like that. It's just like a little coverage site. And then, we just like, it's like all the Atlanta bands right now that we're like super good friends with, at least. But there's also this band called Ruinous Crusade from North Carolina. There's Prime Suspect, Duck and Lean, Strangle You, Taper Fade, Satisfied. I think that's it, and Living in Fear. But it's just like all of our friends' bands. We just kind of wanted to do a thing like together, and that was fun. So Jordan threw that website up and was like, let's put all of our merch on there. So now it's like you can place where you can buy merch, so we don't have to do it through Big Cartel or
it's kind of
shop.
Like it's almost like so it's like one person's like Netflix subscription and everyone has passwords so everyone can access it, but a little bit different just with someone fronts the money for the website domain, but it's kind of a place that anyone can go, and it's a way to cross promote as well, which I think is really interesting. Don't see a lot of other bands doing it. It's like, here's our link. We don't like it's not necessarily people being like, we don't want you to go buy our homies shit, but it's just a nice way to be like, here's a bunch of good hardcore music all in one place. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just all the party together. We're like, let's throw a side together and put everybody's shit on it. Cool. And that's it. It's pretty simple. But it's a cool way to like cross promote. That is a really cool way to look at it.
Have you got people like DMing that account or whatever, being like, hey, like, here's our demo, we'd love if you signed us? And you're like, we're not a label.
Nah, I don't think it's like that. I don't even know if there's an Instagram account. It's really just a website, but I'm not entirely sure. But no, that would be really funny if one day somebody got an email that was like, "Here's a demo." I'd be like, "Yeah, for sure. Let's throw it on the site." Like, I don't care what it is. It's just funny as hell. Let's do it.
Yeah. No, I think again, like we've hit on this a couple times, but just having, other things and doing things outside of the normal hardcore record, play shows box is a good way to stand out, but it's just important just to keep things interesting. So that's very cool. So this is kind of a level 1 question, but I feel like we can kind of break it down a little bit here. Crossover for me has always been like the riffs and just either very, very technical and fast or very, very simple and hard. So, you guys can both answer this, but when in your opinion, makes a good riff?
I like a good mix of power chords and or bar chords and just like the noodly shit. Like there's got to be like if there's both, I'm all about it. That's what I'm looking for. I love that. And chugging on the E. If like do it for as long as you can possibly get away with it. Just strumming that one open E. Just fucking dun 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 dun. Like the longer you do it, the more I'm gonna love it. I love that. It never gets old.
I would say for sure chugging on the E, like you said, and then also what I think makes a powerful riff is when the percussions can change into several drum beats that will fit the guitar rhythm behind it.
True.
To where it can last.
Yeah, you can
bars,
just ride that riff.
You can
for
ride
like
that
a solid
for like
2 minutes.
exactly like, or if it just has some variation, but it has that overall hook. I think that's what makes some songs pretty strong and powerful.
Yeah,
when it comes back to that.
I agree with that.
But
yeah, like arguably the biggest thrash band, crossover band of our time is Power Trip, and they've done it for multiple albums where it's like here's like just the E-Chug song, and it's just and the one little noodle at the very end, and it just works so well. Like it doesn't get boring. It's predictable but like enjoyable at the same time. Like it's not overdone, it's not underdone, so it's nice in the middle. So yeah, I hard agree on the E-chugging for as long as possible.
Yeah, I'd say that's like the most like it's just there's so much style involved in that because like it's so confident to just be like, yeah, we don't need to do a lot of shit. Like we can just ride this and y'all are gonna fucking like it. It's like, yeah, of course, because that never gets old. Motorhead all the time.
No sweeps or like weird noise stuff that needs to be added. Just like, nah, I'm so confident that this riff is gonna make you mosh. That's all I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah. I know you'll like this, so I'm gonna stick to it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I and I want to also echo Wayne's. That band I was mentioning before, Spirit World. There's many songs where it's like maybe 2 or 3 riffs, but the drums change around that, so you get like the the ride bell part that's like halftime, and then it like picks up, and it just it works so well. So yeah, I think that there's so many good riffs out there. So I know this is also a question from Wolfgang, who is a merch machine, as I'm sure you know as well, Curt. But did you guys have a shirt that said "Fuck you music" for "Fuck you people"?
We have 2 shirts that say that. That's like it's kind of like another little one of those things that I was like, there's so many different variations of that through punk and hardcore music. Like I've seen it all the time. Like the Bad Brains have used it. There's so many different variations of it. And I was like, what's the meanest version of that? Fuck you music and fuck you people is cool. It just sounds mean. So yeah, that's the slogan. It's another one of those little like slogan things, shit that looks cool on a shirt.
What were the other ones that you were seeing from other bands, and you're like, how can I just like dumb this down to its absolute just bare minimum?
the two most popular ones I've seen are Rat Music for Rat People, which was like a comp of punk songs that like I think it went through the 80s.
Okay.
And then the other one was the Bad Brains one, which was what was it, like Soul Music for Bad People or something. It's a 7-inch. I have it downstairs. I can't remember though. Soul Music for Bad People or something. And that band Soul Power from California, they came here on a show with Misery one time, and they had a shirt that said that on the back. And I was like, that's really cool. I like it's very just blunt and to the point. Like, yeah, I want to do like a variation of that. So that's where that kind of came from.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool that bands will just have those like those pieces that are just so ignorant and like I'm sure we all saw the like I'll say the rise core bands that had just like the worst words in the world just going from the top of the shirt all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, the most ridiculous one I saw in an Attila shirt that said, I think it was an Attila shirt or something, but it said, "Your girl gives the best dome," and just giant block letter out. Why the fuck would anyone wear that?
Yeah, why would someone spend $20 for this? Like,
yeah, like that's ridiculous. Everyone is gonna look at you like you're a fucking maniac.
Whether it's Attila or any other band, I'm sure that there's some like rise core band that has a box of those shirts sitting in their garage and they know they won't be able to move them. They're just like they're there to stay.
Yeah.
It's
just cool to
have. Since we're on the topic, are there any other cringe shirts that you've seen either even in recent hardcore history that you're just like, I can't believe someone put this design or these words on a t-shirt?
I can't think of any off the top, to be honest. I can't. But I've seen some bad merch designs. I don't want to like say any of it. Like I don't get myself in trouble. No, I've seen some pretty shit ass merch designs.
Well, you don't have to say the band name. You could just describe it, and then anyone who knows is like, oh, I know who they're talking about.
I don't know. I just don't like. I really hate like Biohazard did the belly rocker design, and it was cool when Biohazard did it. But like every other shirt I've seen that's done it is absolutely just horrible. I can't stand the like belly rocker t-shirt design. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But I have that Biohazard shirt, and I like the Biohazard one. But like all the other ones have like too many letters, and they're like too weirdly scripted. I don't know. It never looks just like a big U on your stomach on a shirt. It just looks really weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the most annoying shirt design I see.
Yeah, I just put out a podcast just a couple of days ago with Cole from Gulch, and he also runs a big printing shirt operation in Northern California, and we were just talking about like the whole like band. I didn't even think about like bringing this up, so I'm glad I'm not wearing one of these shirts, but the whole like band name on the left print and then the live shot with the lyrics on the back is like so overdone. And you know bands, this has been a reoccurring theme, but as far as thinking outside the box and doing shit different, that kind of catches people's eye versus like kind of filling the checking the box as far as like a merch design. So
exactly. Yeah.
Do you guys is the plan to have like a Living in Fear merch drop around the time of the release of the album, or
no? I'm not gonna lie. No. I didn't even think about that, to be honest. But no, I don't think all of us have just moved in to like a new house.
Okay.
So we have no money to make merch. But like it's just not gonna happen. But no, I mean like we have some designs that we want to get made. We're just kind of waiting for like an like to feel like we have a reason to drop it.
Sure.
But I didn't even think about the record. I didn't even think about it.
You guys could do the whole like pre-order thing, just mock it up and then just put it out and then use that money to ship it out. Yeah,
I've thought about doing that with some hats. I feel like we did a small run of hats, but like they only went to people in Atlanta. Like no one got any, and we went to Philly with the intention to sell all the hats, but everyone in Atlanta bought them before we left. So it was just like, damn. we gotta get more hats made now because people hit us up all the time. Like, yo, y'all got hats. We'll have to get some damn hats. So that's probably what we're gonna do next.
Well, I hope there's something, because obviously, like, you know, I'm very, very excited myself to hear that. But if there's any way that I can rep that up here in Canada, like that's something for sure I would throw my money at. So
Yeah, totally. We gotta work on that. We gotta work on getting new merch.
does the entire band live all in the same house?
No, so me and Wayne live together, and then the other three live way spread out.
Okay.
But me and Wayne are probably like the most involved. You know, like we're the two like holding it all, like making sure everything is cohesive.
Sure.
So we me and him handle most of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we just moved, so
Gotcha.
we're not putting merch anytime soon.
Yeah. As far as you know, just Atlanta as a whole, I've never been to that part of the States. So is there any, you know, a lot of people talk about the South and kind of just group that in as one thing. I'm always trying to break any misconceptions about certain regional things, because that's a big thing. At least what I'm doing with Scoped is like people think Western Canada is like Vancouver and that's it, but there's like so much and so many different scenes and bands that are working really hard to get that recognition. So is there any misconceptions about Atlanta or just Georgia as a whole, either on a music side or just a overall side, that you guys want to kind of shatter the glass?
I don't know. Atlanta doesn't have a lot of bands. Like we have a pretty small scene for the most part. But the people that are in bands work really hard at their bands. And like, so there's, a lot of places just have a lot of bands, but there's only so many people. Down here, there's a few bands, like there's a handful, you can probably count them on two hands. There's probably 10 or less bands in the Atlanta hardcore scene right now, but not many of them share that many people anymore. We were doing that thing, I would say like a few years ago, where like there were so many bands and it was just the same people flip-flopped into playing different instruments.
Right.
Now we've all kind of concentrated as we've gotten older. Like it's all the dudes that I grew up with. We all concentrate on our bands now. And that kind of scene, we're trying to get our own bag. Yeah. And that's just kind of how it seemed to, that's just how it seemed to go down. Yeah. And, so yeah, I can't think of any misconceptions. Not many bands come out of Atlanta. I feel there's not that many. There's like, you can probably count them on two hands. How many like hardcore bands have come out of Atlanta? There's not many. That got big, that like did it big. It's mostly, it all falls on the backs of like Foundation and Criminal Instinct. Those are like the two biggest Atlanta bands ever. And then Abuse of Power would follow that, I would say. Sure. But I mean, those three bands are insanely hardworking bands. They did their shit right. And they weren't all playing in a bunch of other bands. So yeah, I would say Atlanta just has a lot of driven people that are really dedicated to their one act. And I think that's what makes it, gives Atlanta a lot of really good bands, as opposed to it, having a bunch of shit tier bands. You just have a lot of bands,
Yeah. If I had a nickel for every time, either when I was living in Calgary or in Winnipeg, where I would see a drummer who's like, yeah, I'm playing 2 sets tonight or 3 sets tonight or 4 sets tonight, and just seeing them over time become burnt out and then not want to drum in bands anymore, and then 4 bands break up, or struggle to find a new drummer. But yeah, it is cool to see when it's like, hey, all the bands that are playing don't share members here today, versus like, oh, here's shout out to, he won't listen to this, but shout out to Chad. He used to drum in one of my old bands, and he was like, I remember shows where he was like doing triple duty, and he was just dead at the end of the night.
A few years ago, that was like every show. Like every show had so many people in the same bands until the bands from out of state went on. But like all 3 local acts were the same 5 people, give or take a couple of them. But like it's always the same handful of people playing. Yeah. But not anymore. Now there's just a handful of bands, and it's all different people. It's a lot better. The bands I've seen, the bands are getting like more attention, I feel like it's because, you know, we're working harder at our own thing instead of trying to disperse all of our creative shit into different outlooks.
Yeah, I think that there's, you know, peaks and valleys as far as like, you know, transitional times, you know, someone who's like the person who always books the shows maybe is burnt out and stops, and then someone needs to kind of pick up the torch and keep it going. And, you know, certain scenes will have phases where it's the same local band kind of playing every show, and then, you know, then there's actually an amount of bands that can kind of promoters can kind of pick and choose. So yeah, I think, you know, not being all bogged down on like where your scene is at, but just always sticking it out and trying to make it grow, make it more fruitful. And, you know, that change happens like that over time. And you know, I can't remember who I was talking to, but I think the first few shows that come back, whether, you know, whatever, whether it's regulations or vaccine or this, that, or the other, we were talking about it's gonna just be all these insanely packed local shows where it's just like all like people aren't gonna be driving or across the country or wherever to play. They're just like, I just want to see all my friends. I want to see all the bands that I haven't been able to see, and then we'll start to see the massive tours and festivals, and those things will trickle down.
Yeah, we've been thinking about it is going to be we've all been thinking about that too, how it's going to
Big wave.
Yeah, the local scene is going to explode when shows come back because everyone is so fucking bored. Like everyone is so sick of being bored that they're all, once they can hang out again, they're just going to be ready to go out and fucking rock. Everyone's going to want to do something. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to make local scenes a lot bigger.
And especially like the people that are like into hardcore, but they would only go to the local fest or the regional fest, or they would only go to that like record release show. Like for me, I was always just getting to as many shows as I can, even outside of hardcore, more so just like to film and get content for the channel. And now it's like, you know, I hope that becomes the norm, that everyone's just going to every show as much as that they can, because they realize like you could wake up one day and then just some virus got started in some part of the world and it came over, and we're in this whole thing all again, knock on wood. So I think it's a reality check for a lot of people, as far as like, okay, do you want to be involved in this, and how much do you want to actually be involved? So I am desperately looking for when that, or I'm desperately in anticipation for when we can all do that safely. So.
Oh yeah, I'll be at every show. Yeah. You'll never catch me back in the show. I'll be there.
What are your thoughts on just like, you know, we're kind of jumping around topics here, but you know, people who have done releases, is the plan for when you guys can to do like kind of a release show, even if it's like, you know, 4 to 6, you know, whatever months after it. I think a lot of bands have put out these awesome releases, and they deserve to have some kind of party that kind of centers around that record.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't do that for our first record, so I don't think we're really all that hung up on it.
Sure.
So I just like, I want to play so bad. I don't care if we get a release show or not. You know, like it doesn't. I'm not gonna make it about me. Like, just let me play. I don't care. I just want to do it. So yeah, I don't know. We haven't really put any thought into a release show just because it seems so not happening. Like I don't see that shit being able to happen. Yeah, it's gonna be too far out. I can't hold on to music for too long. So like if we don't get a show soon enough, there's gonna be more music we have to drop, and you know, it's just that's just the way it's been going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, yeah, I think it might just be one of those things where it isn't maybe a release show, that it's just a show that it's like, hey, all these bands put out really cool music like during the pandemic, and we all get to hear it all for the first time. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a freaking like jungle gym.
Local showcases would be cool. Yeah, where it's like, all the bands from our city fucking push shit out. Let's do a show together.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. I'd be really into that.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's kind of getting to the point where we can start to wrap up the show. The last piece that I always do for all of my guests is a favorite mosh story that they would like to share. So because we got 2 guests, we get double the amount of stories. Wayne, how about you go first? And the stories themselves don't need to be like something that happened to you, or it could literally be whatever is the first thing to your mind, whether it's gruesome, funny, whatever is the first thing that comes to mind.
I mean, sure, I got many off the top of my head. Maybe I'm trying to think of one specific one. Do you want one or do you want 2?
Or you want one?
It's kind of like up to you. I never tell people like, no, only one, like whatever you want.
All right. So it was because I missed Cro-Mags back in like 2018. It was with my friend Adam Mattis, Sophia, and we were on our way to United Blood. And it was like the year 2018, and we were up in Virginia Beach, and we caught Cro-Mags playing with Paper Trail, and Paper Trail went on, and there was this kid or this dude, I guess, he got whacked real hard in the face. It was like it was bloody as hell. Bad. It was bad. But ambulance came. Show got kind of like put on hold for a minute, for about like good 45 minutes, I'd say. And then after that, it kicked back off after guy got hospitalized and I guess shipped out to the
to the ER.
To the ER and cleaned up on the floor. Like we just kind of went back to it, and that was like,
that is some crazy.
Yeah, it was a pretty awesome show.
We gotta say, my favorite mosh story is fucking Adam over here at FYA when fucking 3D Deep was playing. This motherfucker just hucks a trash can into the damn mosh pit like he didn't have any sense about him. And the fucking security guard is chasing him down, and you can see it in the video. He's like taking off his hoodie, and he runs into the mosh pit and just starts moshing like a gorilla. And the security guard is trying to run him down, and Adam is just like evading him at all costs. And yeah, he fucking changes shirts and comes back out. He's like,
puts on a fake
security
mustache.
dude fucking lost him and gets up on stage and just walks and pouts in the background for the rest of the set. It's so damn funny. Like I couldn't believe it. That's hands down the funniest mosh shit I've ever seen.
I definitely need to find that video. That's from this year or from a year prior?
What was that, 2019, 2018? It was 3D 2018.
Okay, cool. I'll have to go check that out.
It was they didn't have it. I think it was 2019.
It was 2018 because it was the year I went with Justin. So yeah, it was
one of those. You'll be able to find it. I love that visual, just like dodging arms and feet and also running away from a security guard.
Yeah. Shit was funny as hell.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, this has been a blast, guys. Obviously, big fan of the riffs and the Living in Fear vibe. I'm really glad that Wolfgang did that trip and put me on to you guys, and we got to do this podcast. Is there anything that you want to shout out? Any handles, plugs, websites that people should check out after this podcast wraps up? The floor is yours for whatever you want to share.
So check out haterzbedamned.com to cop Living in Fear merch and shit like that.
Sure.
And I'm gonna shout out one band. I'm gonna shout out the Pink Stones. Look them up. They're from Athens, Georgia. They're a country band. It's the best shit you're ever gonna hear. It's so good. Look them up too. That's
cool.
Those are my plugs.
Okay, Wayne, do you want to echo the plugs, or you got plugs of your own?
Yeah, I mean, hell yeah. I'm going to echo again for sure our whole HBD family, for sure. Put everyone that we have in that group and all the bands that are involved in that community, and also our local Atlanta hardcore scene, of course. Aside from that, I'd say Dead Heat for sure. Shout out to Dead Heat.
Yep.
Shout out to Rotting Out. Shout out to just like everyone else who we on a connection with and who we're friends with, like much love, appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to send things off. Thanks again for the convo, guys, and Haterz Be Damned.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.